Jim, best Scotland team ever, according to you. Can they do it against Ireland at home?
Look at you with the big headlines, just throwing them out there. This is all producer Rob, I'm sure of it. Just bang, just hit us with a one line. Can they do it against Ireland? Well, for my family's sake and my arm's sake, because if they don't, I'm getting a tattoo of Big Mac next week in Dublin. Thankfully,
Come on, Ireland!
It's with a K, so it doesn't look like the burger Big Mac. It actually looks slightly different. Well, it's the same, but with a K. So I'm hoping that Scotland can do it for that reason. Genuinely, I think we can. I think if Ireland get a few players sent off, it could happen. It could happen. You know what? There's a part of me, right? And again, watching the Edinburgh-Leinster game, and everyone's like, you need to watch it. It's a brilliant game or whatever. Before that, I was like, yeah, there's a chance. And then I look at Leinster, the way that they played against Edinburgh, and the team that they had, and Edinburgh went as full noise as they could. Like Luke Crosby's playing, Bill Matter, Hamish Watson, Buffelli's back, Stuart McAnally's playing. Like, got some really good players, right? Wes Houston on the wing. And Leinster have got a team of players which you kind of know, but it's a mix of old and youngsters coming through. And I watched the way that they played, and I just revert back to the week before the Six Nations, the Auto Nation series, the week after the France game, unplayable. Like, these Irish players, mainly the Leinster ones, are unplayable. I just don't know whether we could potentially get Ireland on an off day. It's a Sunday. We're confident at the minute.
They've got injuries.
I was looking through some of the news this week in the Irish paper and online. Ringrose hasn't trained. James Lowe, McCluskey, Cian Healy, and they're talking about it being precautionary.
Ty Burns gone.
Yeah, which is a real shame to see that as well. Henshaw, there's talk of him being back. If Ringrose doesn't play, do they put Bundyaki at 13, Henshaw at 12? So for me, I'm the cogs are moving in the head. I'm thinking, can we do it? I mean, the headline thing is
Convince
today,
yourself.
Yeah, the headline thing today is we've lost our vice captain in Grant Gilchrist. He's been banned for 3 weeks, even though Howarth got 4. I mean, for a deliberate headbutt. Was it deliberate, though, or was it not deliberate? Gilchrist is a big loss for me. Genuinely, without being emotion-led, I think we've got an opportunity to beat Ireland at the weekend. But we need to be at our very best, and they need to be slightly off, and the injuries that they've got not turn around in time. Because if you think about something like Ringrose is massive. Ringrose is the one for me where if he plays at 13, how he is in attack, defence, as a leader, like he's one of the best 13s, if not the best 13 at the minute in the world.
And that 13 channel against Scotland with Finn pulling the strings and sticking those passes into space that we've seen so many times, having the ball out the back and then fizzing it across, Hoggy finding some real form, hopefully. That 13 channel, and I know it was McCluskey and Bundyaki against Italy, they got exposed a bit in that channel. Hardest place to defend on the field, without a shadow of a doubt. And that is where Scotland look to play to that corner, to that edge, to the space there. So there'll be a huge amount of pressure on that. So Ringrose's selection or fitness is paramount. And I can see, I know sort of Grant Gilchrist has gone now. Who play? Johnny Grail play instead of him?
And Johnny Gray's played well as well.
Yeah, so it's not that much of a loss, whereas you start to look at the Ireland players that could be missing. We haven't seen Tyke Furlong yet. My holiday mate, Finlay Beelum, he's out for the rest of the Six Nations now as well. Ty Byrne gone. You're starting to talk about some top-level players. Question marks Lever Sexton. I'm sure he'll be fit. But Ringrose, James Lowe, there's loads of issues, but you just kind of feel that Ireland will be able to plug any gaps because, as Jim said, the production line of players there is absolute quality. But Scotland have a huge opportunity.
Where can Scotland win this game, Goody? Like, what's their big advantage?
I think a lot of it, as I said then, just boils down to selection and who is fit for Ireland. And that 13 channel is key. Now, first and foremost, you've got to stop the Irish juggernaut coming at you with, phase after phase of attack. The speed of ball is key. You look at how Ireland attack and how comfortable every player is on the ball and how they understand how to play. You've got to slow their ball down. And that battle in the back row. Van der Fleer's been ridiculous. Doris has been unbelievable. Yeah, it'd be down to the likes of Hamish Watson and the balance, of that back row. Jamie Ritchie, does Hamish play? If they can get in there and slow the ball down and stop Ireland's all-court attack where they play phase ball so quickly, they're set up in lovely little structures where they can pinpoint players and pull them out the line. The first thing is win those collisions and slow the ball down at the breakdown, because playing against any team that has lightning quick ball is nigh on impossible. And that's why Ireland look so good, don't they, at times, Jim? If you get in amongst it and win the collisions, but also slow the breakdown down, and it's 2, 3, 4 second ball as opposed to under 2 seconds, that to some people might not seem like anything, but to a defensive system, being allowed to realign and get in position, it's huge. And that would be the defining factor, I think.
Yeah, and then discipline as well, without stating the obvious. But Ireland, as we've seen with Leinster, keep going back to them because they do it very well as well. 5 metres out, 8 metres out, Ireland are unstoppable with the way that they play, the quick taps. Like Leinster scored this ridiculous one at the weekend against Edinburgh. Like the old dinky do where you tap, set up a maul, that's gone. For Leinster and Ireland, that's gone now. They're going left, they're going right, out the back, and they've got these ridiculous plays. Their pick and go setup that they've got as well, the physicality around that, their runners off 9. So Scotland, I'm going to state the obvious, their discipline has got to be razor sharp and give Ireland no entries into their 22.
Finn Russell, heavily strapped in the game for Racing last night, but still played the full 80. Is this the difference that we're going to see between the two teams as well? Because Sexton had his feet up all weekend. He'll be coming in fresh.
Finn having to play on a fallow week, and this is part of it. We saw Dan Bigger doing the same for Northampton. And I just don't think it should be allowed. I don't think, if you're looking after players and you want player safety and whatever, and look, Racing 92 will have a different argument because Finn Russell's one of the highest paid players in the team, one of the best players in the world. So, of course, you're going to want him. Scotland are going to want him fresh. He's going to have to travel over. I imagine Scotland as a team probably would have trained Monday because they had the week off. Finn's not going to be able to train Monday, is he? So you're missing him on Monday. If he's got a sore knee and it's swelled up because of the travel, is he training Tuesday? So, yeah, and that is the difference. That's why Ireland do it so well.
Yeah, it's difficult. And ultimately, like you say, you look at Racing and they're not in a position to be in the barrage in the top 14 at the minute. There's a question mark whether they even qualify for the Champions Cup next year. So when you've got an asset, you've got to play him and he's available. And I completely get Jim's argument for it. But until we get a globalised season or, until it'll happen to Finn again next year when he plays for Bath, he'll have to go back and play during the fallow weeks because that is ultimately the way of being able to go and earn a shit ton extra of money somewhere else outside of your own union that will protect you from that via the World Rugby regulations. And Corporate James, this is where you can influence people at World Rugby.
Baby steps, Andrew. Baby steps.
Wake Bill up.
He's awake. He's wide awake, mate. The guy's an absolute legend. He's wide awake.
He is a legend. I do like Bill, but
no,
we haven't seen much change, have we?
His boys listen to the podcast as well. And look, you know what? It's, as we know, my job has zero influence on that. I'm in the content. If you call it entertainment, it sounds significantly better and much more rock and roll. But so many things need to align, don't they? But there's no doubt about it. The Six Nations is one of, if not the greatest international tournament outside of the World Cup and the Lions.
Pod.
Rugby pod.